Welcome to the Arithmetic Zone, and for this video, we're going to go back to website development. So I'm back to my website that I made. I opened up the CS folder on Visual Studio Code. So we're going to go live, and this is our website. Now, from the last video, you might notice a couple changes I made, mostly because I didn't really like how some of the HTML tags were layered. I didn't like how some of the things were displayed. So to give you a basic rundown, the images I did change. I was pretty stupid. I added the 3 car images. I even pointed it out, and then I just forgot to actually include them. So here we go. I changed them right here. Noticed how car 2 is a PNG file. It's not a JPEG. It would still display it on the website. Just make sure the file extension correlates with what the file name is. And I also gave them all black borders. And if you notice, the because they are is no longer a part of this line, and that's because I removed it from the flexbox div, and it also no longer has its own class. So as you can see, it's just in basic black text with no background. You might notice that this horizontal line, as a result, the HR tag is shorter. That's because in the CSS file, I reduced the margins right here by specifying margin left and margin right. You may also notice that the copyright information in the parts of a car, before parts of a car I believe was in basic text, while copyright had the green background with the brown border. I reversed them by switching the class of them in the HTML file. So now parts of a car has the class purple, while the copyright no longer has a class. So I made these changes just to make the website look a little better. But anyway, the point of this video is I want to go over how to make a navigation bar. So if you don't know what that is, I'm just going to go to Amazon, the exemplar website, and look at this. This is a navigation bar. It's just this long block that stretches across the screen, and then there's all these links you can press on. And if you press on them, they take you to different subpages of the website. I am not sponsored by Amazon. Please do not sue me. So we're going to make that navigation bar. We're going to make a simplified version of it using our knowledge of HTML and CSS. So let's go to our HTML file. Now usually nav bars are like after the title, or like maybe even at the very top of the page. We're going to put our nav bar after because they are and before the images. So locate that area, which is right here. And usually you want to make a div for a nav bar. And we're going to use the div in the CSS file. So let's just make a whole bunch of p tags. Let's start with logo. We're going to include that later. And then home, about, and then contact. Pretty standard links that you might see in typical nav bars. If you save and then check the result. Alright, so you see everything is in a column, and that's because we use the p tags, which display inline. But we don't want that. We don't want each p tag to have its own line. We want them to all be in one horizontal line. So we're going to use the power of flexbox by giving this div an ID to specify in our CSS nav. We're going to save that file. And now to specify that ID, hashtag nav, then brackets, and then first thing we're going to do is display flex. Save that. And now everything is all in one line. We do have to fix its position, and we also got to fix the spacing. So to do that, first thing we got to do, if we want to put it in the center in the main axis, which is horizontal, we would use justify content, and then we use center, save. And if we want to put space in between them, we can use justify content again, and this time let's use space between. You could use space between or space around. They're slightly different. So that gives a good amount of space between them. But I want to make some vertical space now. So what we can do is use the margins. So margin bottom, there needs to be a lot more space on the bottom, 100 pixels. Alright, that works. And then I guess margin top, we want a little bit of space. Let's say 30 pixels. Save. Alright, now we want to make this nav bar a little more pronounced, so we can change the background color. Let's change it to gray. Let's see how that works. Let's see how that looks. Alright, but you see how this gray, you see how this text, like, it almost looks like it's passing outside of the gray box. We can change that by using padding. Let's say 20 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Alright, not too bad. The text could definitely use some work. Well, let's see if we can actually make the font weight bold. So, do that. And looks like it does the job. I also do want to make the font size larger. So, let's set it to large. And only change it a bit. Let's use the number of pixels. So let's say 50. Alright, well that's a little too big. So let's say 20 pixels. Alright, that's a pretty good size. Now obviously the nav bar is a little ugly. We can make it look a little better using border. So let's make it 4 pixels black, solid. And then yeah, that definitely does the job. I think the color should be different. I think the color is a major reason why it looks so bad. But I want to get a gray color that's a little lighter than this, so I can hover over it and then this screen pops up. So if I want a little lighter color, I would just move this slightly upwards. And now it gives me that corresponding RGB value for a more accurate color. Save, and I think it actually does look a little better. Now, here's the thing. We do have a visual nav bar, but if you try to press on this, nothing's going to work. And that's because they're all P tags. They're not actual links you can press on. So we're going to have to go back to the HTML file, change these all into A tags, which is going to be a little annoying. So I can't just use the arrow keys to get out because then it scrolls through that menu. So bear with me. Let's save. Okay, well, you see now how they all have these purple button looking things? That's because in the CSS file, I specified that this should happen for all A tags. So we're going to actually have to change that A tag that we wanted to specify before. We want to give it a class. So it looks like it's this one. We don't have to give it a class. We could just give it an ID. We could call it button. But obviously now I have to change all instances of that in the CSS. So hashtag button :hover. And then also right here, hashtag button. If we save, I think now only this should have those properties. Now these are all the A tags. Now obviously, you know, I can't do anything with them yet. That's because I didn't actually give them a link. But we want to link to different web pages. So let's start with home. Home is pretty easy to deal with. So all we have to do is write href and then the file name. So starter.html. Save. Now if we try to click on this, it's just going to take us to the file that we're currently on. Now what about and contact? We want these to take us to new web pages, but we didn't actually make them yet. So that's what we're actually going to do right now. We're going to make new files. So press on this. Let's call it about.html. And if you don't remember how to start this off, you just press exclamation mark and then tab to get this template. Let's change the title to about us and save. Now right here, you could direct this A tag to the file we just made, about.html, and save. Let's see what happens if we try to click on this. It's going to take us to that web page, but we didn't actually do anything with this web page yet. It's just a blank page. So we're going to want to go back. Now, in order to give it some styling, let's link it to the same style.css file that we made before. So if you don't remember how to do that, in the head you write linked rel equals, and then style sheet, and then href equals whatever your CSS file name is. So style.css. If we save, now if we press on about, you see now that it has that beige background color. It's because it's already accounting for it by making the body beige and putting all these properties in it. Now, of course, we didn't write any text in here yet, so let's do that right now. Let's just write P, and let's just write lorem ipsum, which, let me see if it works. All right, I just press tab for that. Basic sample text, and now you can see we now have text in here, and it is centered. It does have margins on the left and right because we already specified that. But there's no way to go back unless you press left. So we want to include this navbar in the About Me page as well. So we're going to take this whole div, we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it right here. Let's see the result. And now we have a navbar on this page as well. And now I can go between the two pages, home and about. So contact, for now, I'm just going to make contact the About Me page because I think you guys get the point, right? So href equals contact, or no, sorry, about.html. Usually it would be a different web page that you'd make, but for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to use the same website. And also do it on this file as well, so you can actually get back. I did not spell that correctly at all. Alright, save. Now, if I press contact, it's going to take me to the same About Me page. And if I press any combination, or if I press any order of the links, I should always be able to get back to the home page. So we successfully made a basic nav bar. Now what I want to do is, you see where this says logo? I want to change that. That was just a placeholder. I was thinking, let's put the car's logo where that is. That'd be pretty funny. So if you don't remember, we're gonna save this image. Sure, let's save it here. All right, save. So if we go back to Visual Studio Code, we now see the logo right there. We're gonna include that logo by changing this A tag right here. So if you don't remember, img, and then source logo.png. That's what I called it. And then close it off. Let's save it. Let's see how it looks. Interesting. Doesn't work. That's because I forgot about the images folder. So it's in that images folder, so you put the folder name, then slash, then save. And now it shows up. But man, that's pretty big. And it also has that border. So let's give this img its own ID, borderless. Save, and then in the CSS file, if I can get to it, doesn't matter the order you write these in, borderless, and then write border none. Save. Now no border, but it's still pretty big. So if you don't remember how to change that, you just write width, and then let's say 100 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Alright, looks pretty good. And then again, we're gonna copy this, paste it right there, save, and now it should be in every page. There we go. We made a basic nav bar. There's other things you can do, but I think I'm gonna leave it for this video. Next time, we're gonna work on responsive design. See you guys later.